Hello TYBSA, welcome back to virtual classroom. Now this lecture is related with the ectoparasites. In previous lectures we have already talked about the endoparasites, their definitions, types of endoparasites, their adaptation, that what kind of adaptation the endoparasites have gone through. And in this particular lecture we are going to talk about the ectoparasites, which are parasitic organisms that live on outer surface of its host. Example, lice, ticks, mites, etc. Okay, so what are the main definition of the ectoparasites? What they do? What are the different types of ectoparasites? To whom we can say it's ectoparasites. So ectoparasites are organisms which inhabit the skin or outgrowths of the skin of another organism, and we call this another organism as the host for various period and may be detrimental to the latter. Means host may get some damage out of the ectoparasites. Now remember, ectoparasites, organism which inhabit on the skin. Ecto means outside, present outside, not inside the body of host, and it's a parasite. So it will be present outside and it will do something or take nourishment from the host itself, and definitely because it is taking nourishment from the host will have some problems, or most of the time it will be a detrimental problems. Now remember that ectoparasite also many times causes infections because they are biting or sucking blood. Most of the ectoparasites, they will either bite or most of them will have a piercing and sucking mouth parts. So they will start sucking the blood from the host. So sucking blood, at the same time they may transfer some of the infectious diseases to host. So many times the ectoparasites are vectors also. Okay, we will see some examples and what kind of diseases they cause. That's why it is necessary why we should have a clean homes, clean beds. The reason is, if there are some ectoparasites, if they are biting you, it's fine if they are sterile, but if those are infested, they are coming from somewhere else and those are infested with some infectious bacteria, then you should be careful. So various ectoparasites cause significant infestation in many kinds. So not just humans, I am not talking about only humans, but they may infect other animals also, especially the domestic animals, which includes the livestock, pets, some laboratory animals also, poultry. Poultry is applied zoology. So in poultry also there can be many infections, and these infections were caused by some of the ectoparasites. Then fishes and bees, to bees also some infection may takes place. Several ectoparasites currently associated with the domestic animals and have been acquired by the introduction of either host or parasite into the new region. Okay, so as animals have become domesticated throughout the world, so what is happening? Many ectoparasites associated with domestic animals. So if you are transferring some domesticated animals, for example poultry animals, from one area to another, maybe in that area you may have some parasites. Now for example, you have a poultry farm and you are importing some of the breed from some other area. Now you already have 80 poultry animals and you are importing specially some 20 or 30 poultry animals. Now there is a possibility that your area is clean, but the animals which are coming from some other poultry farm, they may have some ectoparasites, and they will come here, they will get mixed up with your animals, and all will have the problem of ectoparasites. and those ectoparasites may be bringing some kind of pathogens or diseases. Okay, so basically ectoparasites directly is not responsible for any kind of disease, but yes, they can be vectors. So many of the ectoparasites like lice are host specific, while others, many ticks, parasitize a wide range of hosts. So whether there is a host specificity or not. Now take example of lice. It is host specific, humans, okay, or any of the animals, but it will not leave that animal. But if you take examples of some ticks, they may be present on more than one host. So whether all are host specifics, not necessary. Some of them are host specifics, some of them are not. So they have very wide range of hosts where they can survive. Okay. Now the vast majority of ectoparasites are invertebrates. So what are the types? As in endoparasites, we have seen there are many of them are helminths. Then you have a protozoans. Okay, so here what type of ectoparasites are present? So most invertebrates ectoparasites are arthropods, insects and arachnids, typically parasitize terrestrial domestic animals, while crustaceans are also there, which are ectoparasites, and they are associated with fishes. So ectoparasites can be of different types. I will show you today one table where there will be number of ectoparasites, the different types, and what kind of host they infect and what kind of disease they transfer. That will be a very helpful table to you. So many ectoparasites are known to be vectors of pathogens, okay, and which the parasites typically transmit to host while feeding, okay, or defecating. Remember two things. Main is the feeding. Feeding means piercing, sucking the blood, or maybe defecating. So they are present on the skin, they defecate, and in that they may have some bacterial infection, viral infection, or fungal infection that may lead to the infection. In fact, one such example you can find in plants also. Aphids, okay, they are parasites to some of the plants, and they because of the aphids they create some it is called as honeydew, that can be found by two reasons. Either when they defecate, at that time they will defecate on the plant surface, or sometimes when they are piercing, at that time sap of plant come out. Okay, because of these two reasons there will be infection of fungus, and the fungal disease will start infecting whole of the plant. So that is actually caused indirectly by the aphid. So a similar way here also in animal parasites, similar kind of thing is observed. They either during the piercing they will transfer some of the diseases, or otherwise there is a possibility that when they defecate on the skin, we never come to know about it, and during the defecation itself it will be present on the skin and you may get the infection. So what these ectoparasites actually do or they cause? So ectoparasite, especially in a large aggregation, may cause some of the disorders. Large aggregation, remember, ectoparasites will not be present one or two on your body. There is a possibility that they may be present in a large number, and when they are in a large number, then their infestation is very damaging to the host. First thing, anemia, okay, or detrimental immune reaction, hypersensitivity, like this. Anemia means what? This may happen because this may not be observed in humans, but this may be observed in cattle. If heavy infestation is there, then there will be lot of blood loss within the cattle, and that may lead to anemia. Irritability, animals become, there will be lot of irritation to the animals because continuously biting is there, so animal get irritated because of that. Dermatitis is a kind of infection that happened because of the ectoparasite. Skin necrosis is possible. Then low weight gain. This is particularly happens in the livestock, because if you look at the livestock, very important thing is about their weight gain. Even if you are talking about, for example, cows, if you are talking about poultry, if you are talking about those animals which people eat, so even if it is poultry, then weight gaining is very important part, because that will increase the cost. Cost is dependent on the weight. Now if there is an infection of any of the parasite, then what happens, there will be not a proper development of that particular animal, and if it lack of proper development leads to the lack of gain of weight. Gain of weight only occurs when you have the optimum condition for development, and parasites may not be able to allow those animals for increasing the weight, because animals will have some irritability, they will be anemic, and this may lead to the low weight gain. Okay, and that is a loss to the farm owner also. There can be secondary infections also, the focal hemorrhages and blockage of orifices, ears, possibility is there. There are some parasites which may live within the nose, or sometimes within the ear, or sometimes one of the parasite, they have laid egg in the ear or nose, and the development of larvae is taking place in that area. That also is very dangerous. Okay, so it is necessary that those who are especially working with the animals or cattle, they should look after all these things, look after the parasitic infection. Okay, so some species of flukes, platyhelminths, trematoda, okay, are ectoparasites for fishes. Not all, remember, flukes basically we have seen in endoparasitic in nature, but very few are there which are ectoparasite, okay, in the fishes, and cause serious damage to the cultured species. Now fisheries, in fisheries this may happen, and we again the same thing in fisheries. What will happen, the size increase of that particular animal is very important, and weight gain is very important, and if such species are present on the surface of fishes, then there will be loss. Again, there are many leeches. Leech is also a kind of ectoparasites. For example, here as you can see, it's a free living, and certain species parasitize again fishes because they are present in the water. Okay, and sometimes are laboratory animals or domesticated animals. If you are not keeping them clean, or if you have for example, suppose you have a pond culture in your lab, and you have collected some specimens from outside, and you have mixed it those specimens within the lab. Now with those specimens there is a possibility that a leech may come up. Initially it was very small, later you come to know that leech is present, and that leech will definitely will be present on the fish and start sucking the blood, so that may be damaging. So wide variety of crustaceans are also there. So other than these leeches, crustaceans, we already know, we know the crustaceans like crab, okay, prawns, but there are small during the developmental stages there can be some crustaceans which may infect or damage the fish. Okay, ectoparasites some of them, and some species adversely affect domesticated fish stock also. Again, lice is one of the example, which is the wingless insects, which are classified either as a single order or as a two order. Okay, now only as you can see, approximately 540 varied species of sucking lice are recognized, and all of which are obligate hematophagous ectoparasites of mammal. So remember, lice specifically is a ectoparasite. So out of 540, most of them, or I should say all, are blood sucking insects or animals. Okay, lice is recognized as most of the time obligate hematophagous. Remember, hematophagous is the word which is used for those which drink the blood. So hematophagous ectoparasite, and specifically for mammals. Okay, now although only about 20 of the species are pests of domestic animals, Okay, pest of domestic animals. So they are ectoparasite to most of the mammals, but only out of these 540, 20 of species are pests for domestic animals. So they will be present in wild also, but they may not infect all kind of animals. Okay, but only 20 species has been recognized which infect the domesticated animal, and they can occur in a huge number, which may result in host irritation, anemia, dermatitis. So we know about lice, it will be present in the head, okay, and number will be there, but we never get anemia or dermatitis, but yes, we get the irritation. So just remember, if domesticated animals, large animals are there, cattle, they may get infected by this, so they will have a lot of problems. So horses, cattle, sheep, goats and pigs may be heavily infested with the sucking lice. Okay, and also then camels, llamas are there. Llamas are different animals. Alpacas. Okay, so all are parasitized by lice. So those all animals which are having hair on the skin, most of the mammals have the hair because this is the characteristic of a mammal. They have hairs. So lice belonging to the genus Microthoracium may damage, okay, and cause dermatitis. Okay, so these are different types. Now we will see the table where we will see that exactly these are some of the principal groups, okay, of ectoparasites associated with the domestic animals and their role in pathogen transmission. Very important. So invertebrates first of all. So as I have told you initial of this lecture, initially that invertebrates, majority of the ectoparasites are invertebrates. Okay, so as I have told you, platyhelminths, few rare species are there, Trematoda, flukes, which host is fish. Whether they transfer a pathogen, not necessary, no. But yes, leeches, yes, it can transfer the pathogen like viruses and protozoans to the fishes, not only fishes but in livestock also. Livestock which are present nearby water body, or livestock throughout the day, they may be present in the water body. They, for example, buffaloes. You have seen buffaloes. They sit within the water body. At that time, there is a possibility that leeches may infect them, or they will start drinking their blood. Then the second one, other invertebrates, arthropoda. You have crustaceans, okay, copepodas are there, and most of them, as we know, crustaceans, they are present in the water. So most of the time fishes will be infected, and the secondary bacterial infection may occur. Okay, so in the similar way, there are many crustaceans are there which may lead to the infection. Okay, then other than crustaceans, you may have other groups also. Now in insecta, okay, lice comes under this insecta. So you have a sucking lice, and host is livestock and pets, as you know, viruses and rickettsia. Yes, this is very important, that lice may lead to the infection of rickettsia. Then there are some chewing lice also, means sucking lice, that piercing mouth part is there. There are some chewing lice. So it can also infect the livestock and pets, and it is present in skin, and may lead to the infection, fungal infections. Okay, then you have hemiptera, bat bugs or bed bugs, and they host our poultry animals most of the time. They may not transfer any disease, but there are some types, livestock and pets, may cause protozoa. Then the diphthera, best example is of the mosquito. Okay, all domestic vertebrates, they mosquito can attack on anybody else, and they may transfer protozoa, we already know the example of protozoa, malaria disease. Then they can also transfer nematodes and sometimes bacteria and viruses. Okay, bacteria and viral transfers are not that much rare. So for example, in mosquito, tiger mosquito, sorry, virus of dengue. So dengue caused by the virus, and that is transferred by the mosquitoes. Okay, so these are two examples, protozoa and virus. Then you have sandflies. They cause, in previous lecture itself we know about the sandflies. They may transfer some of the protozoan parasites within body, livestock and pets. There is a possibility of black flies also. Again they transfer protozoans or nematodes within the body. Okay, so these are some of the examples in insecta. Okay, now if you look at next to the insecta is arachnida. Okay, so arachnidas, ticks. Okay, they may cause infections in livestock and pets. Okay, there are many examples. There are bee mites. Mites are there. Birds, mammals may get maybe a host, and they may transfer pathogens. So these are some of the types. Very important, the last one that I should say. Now, remember one more thing. You don't have to go for all examples. Out of these examples, you can take up 2 or 3 or 5 examples maximum and elaborate on that. Okay, this I have given you some examples. There are many. There is a very large list. I haven't shown whole of the list, not necessary, but these are the different types of ectoparasites. Now, up to now we have seen invertebrates. Now there are some vertebral parasites also. Gnatha, lamprey fish, is also a parasite which host is a fish. Okay, and the second very important, that is the vampire bat. Okay, vampire bat is also a kind of parasite because it sucks the blood. Okay, and it sucks the blood of mammals, livestock, and yes, it may transfer some of the diseases, viruses, okay, or rickettsia or sometimes protozoa. Now vampire bats, in movies people show large vampire man or like that, but no, actually vampire bats are very small species of bat. You can never come to know about them. And they attack at night. Basically, they don't directly fly out and sit on the livestock. They will fly outside the area where cattle or livestock are present. For example, pigs are there in foreign countries. Basically, this vampire bat species is not observed in India. It is observed in, I think, in America, in some areas of the America, not everywhere, or maybe in the Brazil area. So what they do, they will present outside the cattle part where cattle are kept, and then they enter and then start feeding on the cattle. They have the anticoagulant present in their saliva, which doesn't allow the coagulation of blood, and at the same time when they are biting, the cattle doesn't come to know about its bite, so it just paralyzes that particular area. So you will not come to know about the bats, and they are very small. How much small? I should give you one example. They you have seen you have a mouse, okay, the laptop mouse or computer mouse, it is smaller than that also. Okay, so that's why you never come to know about them. So basically, if you pick them up, they will not do anything to you, but they suck and they go outside. They may sometimes attack humans also. So basically, they want to drink blood. Most of the time they attack cattle, but rarely they attack humans also. When those people who are sleeping outside in such area, so during that time they may attack and start sucking your blood. Okay, so these are all the examples of the ectoparasite. So we will stop here. Thank you.